It happened, started coming up through the S's where he started to bobble a little bit, and then he lost speed right at the top of the hill. And I know that based on our off-air conversations and even some of the on-air conversations that they were trying to do a little fuel chicanery right there and bamboozlement, as it were. And then when he slowed down, I hit the talk back to the truck. I'm like, nines out of gas on the backstretch. And then I hit myself on air and did the trouble call.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cup Connection. We took a couple of weeks off for vacation, but we're back, and we've got a great guest today. Joining me is a good friend, a guy I've known pretty much my entire career, Mike Bagley. You know him from MRN Radio. You know him from Sirius XM, and of course, from NBC Sports. Mike, thanks for being with us, bud. How are you?
I am fantastic. Finally, we're able to make this happen. It's taken a while to get the schedules lined up, but so glad to be with you, my friend. It's been a long time.
Man, it's a busy time of year. I don't blame you. You got a lot going on. You got a couple of radio shows you're juggling. By the way, some TV. So I remember a time a while ago when I first broke into TV. I left MRN Radio, and you were giving me some jabs about being a TV guy. Now, you're the TV guy. So what's it been like?
Well, not totally the TV guy, but I'll stick a toe in here or there. Here's the interesting thing about the NBC piece that we do. We do radio style on NBC and USA. There was a time, and you remember this time, that you had the TV road here and the radio road here, and those two paths never intersected so much that TV didn't even want the radio mic flag to be captured anywhere in any type of on-camera presence. And then came along a gentleman by the name of Jeff Benke, who is in charge of the NBC, and well, he used to be in TNT when the TNT spell was around. And Jeff is a listener to TMD and said, why don't we give this a shot? Mm-hmm. Why don't you come up to Watkins Glen? I'm like, I didn't know how it was going to work out. We got radio and TV folks to work together, and I go to Watkins Glen, and it was eventually a success. We tested the waters in the Xfinity race that weekend, and then like, oh, we're definitely doing this for Cup, and we're coming back. And it's how to deliver the broadcast, or how to deliver the telecast in this case, but do a radio MRN flair to it. And the fans seem to like it. It's a blast, and all of them have been, welcomed me with open arms. As the radio guy going into TV, you're kind of like not knowing what to expect, but they've been spectacular over there, and it's just so much fun to do.
And you're so good at it. I'm a little jealous, to be honest. I got on TV a little bit too early. This came after I left, but as you know, I was a turn guy at MRN, so a little bit jealous. You've done a fantastic job, by the way. You can really feel the energy. What's it been like adapting to TV, making that adjustment?
Well, it's funny because there's different jargon in TV than there is in radio. And I remember the first time that I did this, they said, we're going to do a triple box coming back. Well, I don't know. I thought we were about to have lunch. I'm like, all right, well, you eat pretty good over here. Look at these guys. Then they're like, no, the triple. And then I hit the talk back button. I'm like, what's a triple box? Just get in front of the camera. We'll guide you through. So you stand up. This is where they put all three of us in one box, but three partitions to show us all. And then now it's like, okay, I got that one down. And then, all right, we're going to do an SOT here. Well, what the hell's SOT? I don't know what this is. Sound on tape. And it's like, so you get used to all these different terms. Everyone in TV has a nickname. No one is called basically by their real name. So you got to learn nicknames, a new vocabulary as far as TV production is concerned. It's been interesting. It's been fun. And I have a blast when I do it, learning all this stuff, but also then executing the on-air product at the same time.
Well, you've adapted smooth, very smooth. Hey, one thing I did notice this past weekend, one of the most pivotal moments in the race, if not the season, happened right in front of you. All right, so Chase Elliott runs out of gas. You called it. What were your thoughts when you saw that happen?
Well, it happened, started coming up through the S's where he started to bobble a little bit, and then he lost speed right at the top of the hill. And I know that based on our off-air conversations and even some of the on-air conversations that they were trying to do a little fuel chicanery right there and bamboozlement, as it were. And then when he slowed down, I hit the talk back to the truck. I'm like, nines out of gas on the backstretch. And then I hit myself on air and did the trouble call. So they could get their cameras squared away and all that. I was stunned because at that moment of the race, they weren't going to win it. Now, any team that's out there, it's never over until it's over. But I think at that moment, the tea leaves were reading that William Byron was going to be the car to beat. He was long gone. And to run the risk of running out of gas, I guess it was, hey, this is our final strategy play. Let's go ahead and play it. There was no advantage to pressing that issue. And then it was compounded by either a miscommunication or a miscalculation. And that made an day bad or worse. But they needed they needed a day like William Byron had on Sunday to get into the playoffs. That has set up for obviously tomorrow night what will be a must-win situation for Chase, along with 13 other drivers that have to win on top of the 3 that can get in on points. So they're one of many, but I think their situation was compounded even worse. But I question the emotional toll that took with all that has fared after that. You need to get rid of Allen. What is Chase doing? If he hadn't been out those races, they would be in this spot, and all that murmur going on in the background. But now they're in that dire situation of having to pull something off in one of the most challenging events we have all year long.
Yeah, I've seen the chatter on social media. I saw how Alan Gustafson walked out of the racetrack surrounded by reporters. It was a walk and talk. I don't remember seeing a crew chief do a walk and talk like that. I read into that there is some tension, obviously, not the best of situations for that team going into Daytona. What's the vibe that you're sensing right now surrounding that team?
I use this analysis based on living through other people in similar situations. It's not a comfortable position that 9 car is in. You have the most popular driver that is on the verge of missing the playoffs. There are sponsor implications where when Napa signs on, they expect to be in the playoffs. Alex Bowman is in a similar situation. You got a couple of high-profile sponsors that could be left out of the playoffs. There's some ripple effects from that. But just the year itself, with Chase getting injured, having the behavioral suspension, so he's 7 races behind everybody else. But you thrash and you try to make it up, and it seems like if they take a half step forward in a race, by the end of that race, they've been knocked back by 3. Now, they have made progress lately, but it's not been a Hendrick Motorsports Chase Elliott kind of year. Internally, you're trying to make something happen. It's not working. That's building frustration. So that means tensions are building. You may get chippy with each other. I don't know that for a fact, but I know that's happened to other teams. It's not a pleasant situation to be in, to have your back literally against the wall like that. That can lead to internal frustrations bubbling over amongst themselves. You really have to manage this situation. And there may be other things in play that we don't know about. It's not fun if you're on the 9 team. And I can't imagine it is remotely fun going to Daytona in August with that 9 team. Totally different vibe than you were when you went in February to open the season with the Daytona 500. There's tension. There's no way around it. And rightfully so. Question is, how do you manage that tension tomorrow night going into this race?
Well, a win in Daytona could go a very long way for that team, I would imagine.
A long way.
And it's quite possible they can score that win. They're very capable in Daytona. A lot can happen. They're not the only team, though, that is in a tension-filled position heading into Daytona. There's one spot remaining, right? So one playoff spot remaining. A new winner could shake everything up. You would like to think that Bubba Wallace might be safe on points, but who knows? I mean, how do you look at Daytona?
Okay, so the way I break down Daytona is you have 17 drivers who can get into the playoffs for that one spot. So you got one spot. You got 17 drivers. One of those 17 has it. Bubba Wallace is in by 32 points. But if you listen to the footsteps behind Bubba, they are attached to the feet of Ty Gibbs, who lately has turned it up. Performance has been there. And as you know, the cadence of a 400-mile race at Daytona, anything could happen. Well, you've got Bubba, you've got Ty, and you've got Daniel Suarez, who can point their way in. But then you have the 14 others that can get in with a win. So you've got drivers like William Byron that they're based. Saturday night is a formality. The only thing that Saturday night can give a team like William Byron is more playoff points and another win to help with the reseeding coming up at the end of the night. But then you have drivers that have 1 win or 2 that are like, okay, we're into the playoffs. They're probably already thinking about Darlington. But then you have the others that I mentioned that it's like, okay, this is where we need to make something happen. So that brings in the aggressiveness, that brings into the chaos, that brings into the unknown aspect of what we're about to do. So you've got about 3 or 4 different things that are in a slow simmer, or maybe just a gentle boil that will get into a rolling boil by the time Saturday night gives up at Daytona. I think you've got a unique mix of what can break loose, and you've got a unique mix with all the drivers. My gut tells me that unless there's a unique set of circumstances, you're going to have a driver win Saturday night that's already won. Now, if you get wrecking, if you get crashing, pit road speeding penalties at the wrong time, driving through too many pit boxes, that can change the dynamic. For me, that group of 17 has their work cut out for them, because you also have to deal with the drivers that have already won so far. But as we all know, Daytona can be Daytona, and anything can break loose at a moment's notice. And that's what I'm in for. Give me the drama, give me the unknown, give me a surprise winner. But my gut tells me we're probably not going to get that surprise winner Saturday night.
Yeah, from an entertaining standpoint,
absolutely.
I don't think there's a better track to have it at than maybe Talladega, but Daytona is an amazing place to have the final regular season.
Talladega,
but you don't think
you're just trying to put people in therapy right now. Is basically what you're trying to do.
Well, I need therapy myself, so I'm in no position to put other people there. So you said you don't expect a first-time winner, but let's just hypothetically play this scenario that there is a first-time winner. Who's most likely to get that first win and kind of shake this whole thing up?
My money would be on Bubba. Bubba runs super speedways well, but then you can make cases for about 10 drivers. Chase Elliott won Talladega last year. You have other drivers, Austin Dillon that's won at Daytona, Eric Almirola, Austin Cindric. You've got drivers that have won at Daytona before in either other series or the Cup Series, but that's had different implications. Justin Haley won there with Spire Motorsports in a very unique set of circumstances. For me, it's going to take a unique set of circumstances to get somebody like that in, unless they come off the lift gate, no practice at Daytona, just qualify the car 1 lap, tarp it, and then come back and race it. So you're putting a lot of trust in the setup crew, and you're putting a lot on the setup plate that you're going to have the car that you need, because Daytona is all about handling in the summertime. Give you the right car, make the right moves, be in the right line, don't get swept up in the wrecks. To me, there's a checklist that has to have a lot of things checked off on it before those drivers can get up there and have a shot to race for the win. But it can happen. You've got drivers that are capable, and they've done it before. The question is, can they tap into that winning glory again when it matters the most? Yes, you want to win the Daytona 500 in February, but for a lot of those drivers in this back against the wall scenario, it would almost be like winning the Daytona 500 if they were able to do it tomorrow night.
All right. Hey, just want to take a quick break, Mike, and address our audience real quick. Folks, again, we want to thank you for joining us here on Cup Connection. We're reminding you, please hit like, maybe subscribe to our show, and please look back at some of the previous episodes we've had. We've had some great guests over the last couple of months, including Chase Elliott. Mike Joy gave us a great perspective on the first half of the season. We've also had Martin Truex and just a host of other drivers you can look back on and hear what they had to say here on Cup Connection. But we're going to get back to Mike Bagley now, who is now the king of all media. He knows everything, it seems like. So, hey, there was a big story that broke earlier this week, Mike, and that revolves around GMS Racing. Now, it's not a Cup Series team, but it seems like this is kind of a tangled web. It may have some implications, that may relate to Cup Series teams. I'm talking about Legacy Motors, Motor Cars, who is also kind of involved there. When you heard the news about GMS Racing, what did you think?
Not surprised at all. I knew it was coming, because what happened was you have Legacy Motor Club, that's a Chevrolet team now, that has made the decision to go to Toyota. So they're making the jump to TRD. They've already been cut off from the Chevy pipeline as far as the Cup operation is concerned. So any success that you see out of a Legacy Motor Club right now, to me, should be more heralded, because they're doing it with the minimal assistance from their manufacturer. So with them going to Toyota in 2024, the big question was, well, what's going to happen to the truck team? They have 3 truck drivers right now. They have a 3-truck operation: Grant Enfinger, Rajah Caruth, and Daniel Dye. Plus, they have had some success in the ARCA Menard series as well. So the question was, okay, how are they going to be able to have Toyotas in Cup, Chevy Silverados in trucks? And the general consensus around the garage was, that ain't going to happen. Well, we got the news earlier this week that they are actually going to cease operations in trucks, ARCA, everything else, and turn all those folks loose, because now they're going to focus on Legacy Motor Club becoming a Toyota team. I feel for two parties in this. I feel for the drivers that are now at the month of August going to try to cobble a ride together, because for the most part, if you're changing a team or if you're going to establish yourself with a new team, you've already had those conversations, or you know that that's about being done. Now, here we're approaching Labor Day weekend, and you got 3 drivers that are going to try to find a ride for 24. But most importantly, I feel for those men and women behind the scenes of GMS in that truck operation. And that is a 2-pronged separation. You have GMS Racing that's in charge of fielding 3 trucks, but you also have the GMS fabricating side of the business, which makes trucks for other teams in that garage. So those men and women are going to be without work. The crewmen and the drivers are going to be without work. So all of a sudden you have a group of people that find out that of leading into the end of August, that they're going to have to try to find work for 2024. And now they're going to be scrambling. So when I hear this kind of news, yeah, I feel for the drivers. It's going to be sad to lose GMS. They've been in the Truck Series for 9 years, but you also have a lot of talented men and women that feel that ripple effect, that are trying to find other work as well. It's a sad story. If they choose to, I believe that those drivers can find destination. It's going to be a hard search to try to find an open ride this late in the going. I wish them the best. I wish everybody the best. But no doubt, it was disappointing news this week to find that GMS will not be continuing 2024 as far as the truck and ARCA side of the operation is concerned.
You know, I echo those sentiments exactly, Mike. It's always sad when you see a team close down, and there's so many people out there looking for jobs within the industry. You mentioned the drivers, all of them, young, talented drivers with a huge upside. I'm very optimistic that somebody will scoop all of them up. That they've got tremendous potential. Hey, Mike, I got to wrap this up, but I just want to tell the audience, I don't know if they realize our background. I mean, going back to 1999. All right, this is a long time ago. I was pursuing a TV job. I was moving from Connecticut to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I slept on Mike Bagley's couch. Hey, if I'm ever thinking about going down there, you have room? Like I may need a place to stay. I don't know.
We'll put you in the guest room this time. We'll put you in the guest room. That was back when I was living with my parents way back in the day. I whipped up some chicken salad for you. I got her recipe. She's no longer with us, but she did leave the recipe behind. But I remember those days when a young Mike Massaro, Pokey as we know him, made his way into Delaware, onto the sofa, and ultimately hammered down into North Carolina. And look at your broadcasting career. You've had quite a career as well. It's a pleasure that I've had to know you, but also to be taking in your work and all that. And boy, we do have a history, don't we, man? That's like 20 plus years. Wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we've been down the road. We've been some places. We've got some stories to tell, but we won't tell them on broadcast news at any time soon.
But hang on a minute. How is it that I'm sitting here with all this gray hair and you're sitting over there with those locks that are not as gray? What's going on there? Huh?
You gotta be. I've got a great stylist, but I'm not going to tell. Anyways, I'm still on TV. I still got to, do the thing. So, hey, Mike, great to see you. Thanks for being with us. Safe travels throughout the course of the remainder of the season. You're going to see some great racing in the playoffs, I'm sure.
Pokey, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Keep in touch.
The pleasure is mine. Folks, again, thank you for joining us here on Cup Connection. It's been another great episode with Mike Bagley. We appreciate his time, and we look forward to seeing you again next Friday here on the show.